journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This
It is,
the
and it's also the place where we remind you about the plan. All right, what's your plan? I've got a plan. Everybody says I've got a plan. I've got it sorted, and then sometimes you feel, everybody is sorted and I'm not. What happens to me? Or what happened to me? What happened?
What happened?
What happened? The wind blew.
And
You are
It was exposed.
the chickens.
Now, at that moment when you're feeling, oh my goodness, maybe I'm running out of time. You're never running out of time, all right? In terms of thinking, planning, when you're making your plans, whatever plans there could be, plans for your education, plans for your future, plans for your family, plans for your retirement, plans for health, plans for emergencies, plans for whatever you may be thinking of, plans for, what do we call it? Financial independence.
exactly.
Remember, why aren't you here? Can you get into a meeting at 9 p.m.? You're like, nah,
No, I can't.
I'm independent.
Leave me alone.
If you're thinking about making those plans, ICE Lion tells you we're the guys to talk to. All right. So you are a parent. You're an uncle. You're an auntie. You're thinking about your nephews and nieces, and you're looking at them and thinking, my God, if I knew now if I knew what I know now when I was your age.
If I knew then.
If I knew then.
Now.
What I know now, my goodness, I'd have done a lot. It's an opportunity for you to actually tell them, I know now, you don't know now, please know now. So that when you're my age, you'll be saying, I knew, I started my plans a long time ago. It's important for us to actually also start inculcating this in our children, right? So they can start thinking, all right, so at this age, let me take advantage of age. Let me take advantage of actually just building that nest egg at an early age. I see a lion again says, Sisindi Wale was saying, we're those ones. We're the guys. Talk to them. Go to icalion.co.ke or you can even email them info@icalion. They have a chatbot. You can chat you and tell you, okay, so these are the questions that you have. All right, just go have a conversation with them. It's about planning. And then EcoBank
Yes, imagine.
is also reminding you. How many African countries?
35.
How many outside of Africa?
4.
Including South Africa?
Including South Africa, 5. Right? So a platform upon which all your banking needs are met. Doesn't really matter where it is that you go. So you're in Nairobi today, you're in Johannesburg tomorrow, and you're in Yamoussoukro tomorrow, the next day. It doesn't matter. If you have an EcoBank account, you don't have to shut down because you're traveling or because you're relocating. You can just get in and pick up where you left off. And so because of this platform, realize that, you know what, you can continue paying your bills, you can continue with your commitments. Really doesn't matter where you go. EcoBank has set it up so that your banking remains seamless and that it is also sustainable in very many countries. Truly is a Pan-African bank, and they've realized that you can do business in a better way for a better Africa.
Kabisa. It's the 20th day of February 2024. Deadline. KRA. VAT returns today. Okay? So if you have VAT, you've got to make some payments. VAT, you go to eCitizen 222. Pay. With KRA, no issue.
No wahala.
Money will go. And then you want to pay school fees and you have a goat. And you've been told, weka kwa 222. Goat.
Unauliza hiyo
eCitizen.
tutu-
Same.
nitaipate wapi ili nichukue mbuzi niweke ndani.
You 222.
Or your driving license has expired
And you want to renew.
and you want to renew.
Right.
And you have to go on eCitizen to pay.
Right.
And TikTok,
Right.
we are still waiting.
Okay. You want to apply for these 2,500 nursing jobs in Saudi Arabia. Okay.
Or the others in
Or the
Germany.
250,000 jobs in Germany. You need a passport. Just
Hey.
can walk in at you. Oh, when Mkenya?
Na
Kuja.
tumeambiwa tukuje.
Uko na hii badge. Bus boats. Immigration. You need to pay. Go there. Now, the issue of citizen and the government saying, we want to consolidate all our services here is not new. We had a conversation with the former president of Estonia, and she told us, 98% of our services are on digital platforms. Easy, seamless. People just don't even think about it. They just this thing happens. Kumbe it's being rolled out in Kenya. Now the person who went and did the background engineering e-Citizen is here. His name is James Ayugi. James, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Ati, what did you do to e-Citizen? You're the one who did what?
Okay, first of all, mlikutana wapi?
Wewe na e-Citizen.
Yes.
Basically, e-Citizen is a citizen-centric. It's a gateway for Kenyans to access government services. The idea started back in 2008 during President Uhuru Kenyatta's regime. And this, at that time, it was called
2008.
2008.
Yes,
Kibaki
yes.
bwana.
Kibaki. So, at that time, Uhuru Kenyatta was the finance minister.
Yes.
Voila.
So that name still sticks because he's the one who launched the e-registry. But during the launch, he said, we are looking at a time when Kenyans will be able to access and pay for government services online. Because what we had launched that time, it was just a directory of all the business licenses one needs for them to start a business. And there was corruption. Within government departments, guys were printing their own receipts, fake certificates left, right, and center. So you couldn't even tell which one is legitimate and which one is not. So the government actually wanted to streamline that. And so when we came in, it was through a contract from IFC World Bank. We managed to implement a platform where you could download forms, but still print and submit manually. But still that form, printing that form, it was also difficult during those days. You remember even you go to a government office, you can't even get the form by itself. So it was a milestone at that time. Now, just after the launch, we realized that there is an opportunity here. This is because the government wanted a transactional registry. And we went back and thought probably this is where we should commit all our time and efforts in trying to come to develop a solution.
You'll tell us about that solution. Good intro. This gentleman sitting in the studio here with us today is the founder of e-Citizen, and he's currently CEO of Webmasters Kenya Limited. We're talking about e-Citizen, how it operates, how robust it is, and how safe it is to use. CT will welcome him with the day's proverb.
Yes.
And this week's proverbs are from Ghana.
Yes, the Republic of Ghana. In an ancient time known as the Gold Coast.
Gold kama yomeva.
Gold, kaba. Hii ni gold.
Sijui?
Hii ni yellow.
Please, for my sanity, just continue.
Okay. For your sanity. Now let me give my attention to the guest. Two men in a burning house must not stop to argue.
Two men in a burning house must not stop to argue.
Yes.
James, what's your interpretation of this proverb?
A burning house, of course, if you argue and you'll just end up dying. So my interpretation is at the time of conflict, you focus on resolving the situation, getting out of mess, than arguing amongst yourselves. Yes.
Set aside your differences.
Yes.
Focus on what's the greater good,
Yes.
what's mutually beneficial to you,
That's correct.
mutually assured survival. Sawa. So back to 2008, and you develop this registry, and then you realize, okay, so government is thinking transactional platform. Now we have put together a registry where you can go, you need this license, you need to download, you download a form, you print, and then you go with it. What forms did you start with?
It was all forms in government.
Police abstract ilikuwa?
Police abstract ilikuwa from all agencies, from companies registry to all the government departments. There are so many forms. So the first opportunity now to implement a transactional registry came in 2011 when we did the first construction permitting automation for City of Nairobi. At that time, it was His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi was the Minister of Local Government. It was the first of its kind where developers are able to submit applications, and it goes through different approvals, and then you get a construction permit online. That was one of the most complex services within government because it included external reviewers. There's roads, there's NEMA, there's internal guys from planning, development control, and review of big files, site inspections, and all those kind of things. So between 2011 to 2013, we started going around the world implementing just a similar technology around several cities, including Kigali and others. We went to Iraq, Baghdad, we went to Erbil, we went to Dhaka in Bangladesh. So we went to several cities. So in 2013, when the new regime came in, there was a digitization effort, and they wanted all government services to be done, to be paid electronically at that time. And since we were working with the Treasury from the origin, and we already now had experience in several countries doing transactional registries, we were invited to present what we had to the government. So
as webmasters.
That's correct.
Okay.
As webmasters. So we presented a working platform, a transactional registry. By a transactional registry, it means a system where one is able to make applications. It goes through a review, and you're able to pay. During those days, there was only one service provider who was able to process online payment. It was called PesaPal. So we had done all the integrations, and within few minutes, we demonstrated that we were the right people for this. Now, it's good to note that this was very, very big at that time. So everyone was interested in this, from all the banks, international software companies, all these guys were. In fact, we were the least when it comes to profile, but we had the most experience because this is what we've been doing every single day since the launch of e-registry.
Could I just pause you for a second?
Yes.
Here you are, you've been involved in these things, then you're saying they're bigger. I would have assumed that in your line of work, they also would have a lot of experience, and that's why they are bigger. Or is it that you had more experience locally?
We had more experience dealing with government. You know, doing software is the easy part. Implementing technology within government ecosystem is a special experience, is a special skill set. While you're dealing with so many interests, and you're dealing with people who don't want you to change, change their current processes. So we had the experience both locally, and of course, we dealt with other markets. So at that time, when it came to dealing with government, first we had a product that resonated with what the government wanted. Number two, we were already working with the IFC World Bank in doing automation around the world. And when the government said, okay, we love what you've presented, and we would like to engage you. So I told them we're already working with the World Bank, and this is some of the projects that they can be able to fund. So the government initiated a request from the IFC World Bank seeking assistance just to fund the pilot of eCitizen. Now, at that time, after those procurement process, now the eCitizen was born, and it went live on the 1st of July of 2014, with NTSA being the first organization with driver's license renewal. Now, one of the things that, of course, people forget is how it was then to even renew a driver's license. We used to go to line up at National Bank, and you go there, you find all the drivers, from Matatu drivers trying to renew their driver's license.
If I may just interject.
Yes.
That was a later time. It used to be at the DC's office first. Please continue.
Now, during our time, so during your time, it was at the DC's offices.
Yes.
So it was quite complicated.
You go queue at a bank,
And then
you pay,
you'll
and then
get you pay.
get a banking slip.
You get. They used to have database of the different databases distributed in all the branches. So someone will write on your booklet, and then they'll issue you with a yellow sticker to put it in your book. And it was cumbersome. Why? Because they used to have just a branch just to handle this mess of driver's license renewal. And of course, at that time also, it was written over 18. So they are not capturing certain information like ID and all those kind of details.
Yeah.
So it was really messy at that time. So when we came in, we wanted first to make it easier for me to renew my driver's license. And this was just on personal interest. We wanted to make it easier for ourselves so that we can renew this driver's license on the go. And now, at that time also was when NTSA was moving away from KRA, because all this was housed at the KRA.
Yeah, transport licensing department.
Yes, at that time. So it was being migrated. So we came in at the right time when they actually needed help. So we could walk in a room full of papers. So they are called traffic file. So when you have an incident, someone will go pull your file, and then they'll update those records manually. So there was digitization efforts at that time. So there are certain records that were typed, but they had so many errors. So the first thing that we did was to integrate with the IPRS, which is for KYC. So before you gain access to any government services, we wanted to first identify you. And then now it was integrated. So when you renew and search your traffic file number, we'll be able to pull your details. And then now you'll submit all your information, and then the system will automatically start cleaning your records. So over a period of 2-3 years, when people were renewing, they ended up cleaning their data. And later on now, the government was ready now to implement the smart digital ID, because now the data was clean over a period of time.
How was it cleaning the data?
First, correcting the name, capturing all the name. Second,
So the first time I log onto the platform,
yes.
What was it asking me?
So it was asking you for your ID number
Right.
and the first name.
That's it.
And then it will check, because that is what is unique to you.
It will check where.
IPRS.
What's IPRS?
IPRS is Integrated Persons Registry System, run by Interior. So that system is the
That
one
was already digital.
that was already integrated with the National Registration Bureau.
Okay.
So its work was purely to facilitate KYC.
Okay.
So when you are registering, you are required to key in your name and your first name and your ID number. Just to avoid scenarios where people are guessing ID numbers and trying to pull other people's IDs. Because it's highly impossible for someone to guess your ID number and your name combination for them to get your data, unless they have access to your ID.
Yeah.
So, and then we captured additional information like phone numbers and email address, just so that the government can be able to contact you either with SMSs or email. So now that's how we started cleaning the records. And when there's issues with your details, you'll call. There was a support center at NTSA, and then they'll log into the system, and then they'll clean it.
I can imagine that was a painstaking job, funding or not, because you're trying to essentially get all the information for everybody who's in the system, then obviously, put in a digital form. And so you started with NTSA. And I'm just going to, if we can just jump a little bit, to the point where right now, eCitizen has thousands of government services then on that platform. What did that take? The same process that it took with NTSA, the first one? Or now were you then able to link from this main platform to other agencies, institutions, crossing fingers that they had digitized to some level? Or exactly what happened now with those other ones? Or was it a whole process?
So during the initial stages, the one thing that we realized in government, there's a standard process across government departments. You're submitting a form, someone will review, and there's an output. An output is either a license, a permit, a certificate. And there's a payment involved at a certain stage. So we created a workflow engine that will allow us to easily implement automation for any government department. Because our formula at that time was to empower the departments to be able to do this by themselves. Later on in 2017, now we started getting traction. Services like NTSA started experiencing surge because there was additional traffic. These are things that we had never experienced, and our platform started cracking.
Sorry, can I just interject?
Yes.
Could you point that additional traction to the fact that it was now easier to deal, or that it was it was quicker, it was more efficient? What would you attribute that traction to?
When the government says from tomorrow moving forward, you can only renew your driver's license through this platform, or get your company registration through this platform, you don't have options.
Right.
Now there's usually a surge. Why? Because in the past, of course, there are people who are limited due to the fact that they can't travel to come to government offices to renew these things. So that's pretty much what happened.
Okay.
Yes. So once we started experiencing this surge, now we actually decided to rewrite the whole engine from ground up. But now, with the high traffic and high availability in mind, also security became a very important aspect that time. So by the time, because we did pilot almost for 8 years, and this was, of course, luck also. The government really believed in our capabilities, and there was, of course, also time to improve on the services that were onboarded. So during that period, we implemented 397 services, but mostly within business registration, NTSA, Interior, and those were the mass
Interior
services.
what?
Ministry of Interior.
Yeah, what service?
Passport applications.
Okay.
And all those kind of things like
Passport, ID?
no, ID it was still through
Manual.
the Huduma Center. So we perfected the system, and then now
Perfected.
by perfected we mean
Improved.
Okay. We improved. We tweaked. We
Positively.
Fixed. We fixed.
Upgraded.
We fixed bugs. All of those kind of technical stuff. So now we also increased our capacity within our teams. We went to the ground to look for talent, and this is just local talent, and we managed to get some of the top brains.
What kind of talent were you looking for?
Mostly software engineers at that time, and then implementation. People will do implementation, because a software by itself, for it to be operational, you need people who will go implement, train, and do change management just to help with adaptation. Okay. So we build capacity. We sourced for local talent. We got some of the best brains, and we did knowledge transfer first internally. And now the new generation engineers were able to even make the system much robust and better. So
let's take a break then, and then we shall continue, right? It's 28 minutes to 9. James Ayugi is the founder of eCitizen. He is the one who, together with his mates at Webmasters Kenya, were first contracted by government to develop the platform that we now know as eCitizen. He's taking us through the journey of, the thinking behind it, the initial rollout of the eCitizen, the challenges that they went through. It's important for us to then understand where the eCitizen platform is today, and then we can now start pushing in the stress to James and getting to understand, hii information yetu yote umeuzia nani? Ni ya nani? 27 minutes to 9. We'll be back shortly. Kenya's biggest conversation, The Situation Room on Spice FM, KTN Home, on YouTube or on Facebook.
And now very heavy, a number of lanes over the drift and then trying to get towards Muthaiga Square. The Pangani underpass coming in from Survey is also very heavy, and into the CBD where most of it is happening right about now. As you come off Ngara, getting towards the Globe Cinema overpass, going towards Central City, very, very heavy traffic. Landis Road, heavy as well, going towards Kamkunji. It's looking better on Jogo Road. Just past the Makadara train station, traffic still continues to do the thing. Langata Road is not too bad, but for some reason, folks are on Raila Odinga going towards Gong Road. And Magadi, not too terrible right about now, except just at the junction. Smidgen of it. Manageable. Let's talk on Spice FM KE on X. Hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94 points
with James Ayugi, founder and the CEO of Webmasters Kenya, founder of eCitizen. And James, are you still behind the eCitizen row? Are you running it?
Our company is behind the fixing of the bugs, but it's run by the government.
It's now run by the government.
That's correct.
But what you do is you offer technical support.
In technical world, when you're using a Microsoft Word, you've been licensed to use it.
Yes.
But the proprietor or the developer will keep on improving it. So behind the scenes, the core platform, we are the ones improving it, not just for Kenya, for several other jurisdictions. And when there are issues, there are channels in which we communicate with the government in resolving them.
So the platform is owned by the government?
Yes, the platform called eCitizen is 100% owned by the government.
The software that you developed is owned by the government?
The software that we developed is licensed to the government.
Okay.
So you own it?
We own our intellectual property.
Okay.
But the government has its license to scale and improve its version of the system.
Is
so
it
you
in
give them the right
perpetuity?
to use it?
The right to customize the version of the software to their liking and to the local laws.
Okay.
And for that, we cannot be able to move the Kenyan version to any other market.
Can you rescind it at any point? The license?
The Kenyan license is owned license by the government.
Oh, it's an owned license.
Yes, it's
not
an
lease.
owned license.
Okay.
So in the future, other people can still be able to improve on it. But it is compiled at this particular time, and they are the ones who are running it.
When you developed it, were you paid?
We were paid for the initial pilot, and this was $76K US dollars. At that time, it was like 7.6 million for the initial 10 services.
And then?
But you realize our intention at that time was to prove concept. So we didn't know that 10 services is such a small number when it came to even just NTSA. So in the initial terms of reference, it was just 3 services from NTSA. The moment you get in, you realize one service called driver's license has more than 15 other add-ons that all work together. So we now started just incorporating this additional just to prove the concept.
For more money.
So the pilot was partially funded, because I could say most of it we funded it ourselves.
Okay.
Yes.
Since then, how do you get paid?
Currently, we have a contract with the government, and the government pays us as per the contract agreement.
From the initial moment when we started interacting with the e-citizen
Yes.
for NTSA services to date, whenever you transact on e-citizen, there's something called was it facilitation? What's the word?
Convenience fee.
The convenience fee.
Yes.
That has never gone below 50 bob.
Until recently.
Yeah.
Yes.
How much is it now?
From 5 shillings.
Okay.
So it is now
much lower.
not much lower. It has a tariff.
It's
Okay.
pegged to the service.
Yes, yes. So if you're paying a service, let's say less than 150, you pay like 5 shillings.
Okay.
Yes.
Who does this money go to?
So that money goes to the National Treasury.
And then?
And then the National Treasury disburses it to the ICT Authority.
Why?
The ICT Authority is the technical arm of the government responsible for all the digitization efforts. So they have contract with other providers. And this is one of the options to fund the digitization effort over and above other donors who come in to assist.
Was this part of your proposal to the government, or was it part of the terms of reference and requirements by government?
This was part of the now recommendation after the pilot.
That's what you recommended to them?
Because during the pilot, there were costs of running the ecosystem, supporting it, improving it. And at that time, even the convenience fee was not even enough to sustain a robust ecosystem. You realize in Kenya, just a single system like, example, NHIF, guys will pay 4 billion in the past for those kind of systems.
Yeah.
But we were not even charging close to anything like that. So a sustainable model during our proof of concept was there are costs associated with SMSs. You can't decide that you're going to give 30,000 SMSs per month because tomorrow you may have a surge and people need to verify.
Yeah.
So these are recurrent costs. Hosting, you may need to scale it when there's a surge. So when the government now regularized the pilot, they adapted the pilot, they developed policies and terms in which, for us, we are not part of the convenience fee. The government collects it. The government develop policies around the convenience fee, and they are the ones who disperse it as they wish. We are not part and parcel of that. For us, we only a service provider who offer our services as per our terms and condition with the government.
Now that you've been in this business for a while, would you say it's possible to anticipate a surge?
At this particular time, we've tested the platform across all different scenarios. eCitizen currently has the most number of users than any other system, and of course also
Both in public and private.
That's correct, and also recurrent users. The government has heavily invested in the infrastructure. By infrastructure, I mean hosting ecosystem, just to make sure that there is high availability. So at this particular time, I can confirm that unless there is an incident like what happened, which was denial of service attack, which again we managed to resolve.
Can you talk a little bit more about it? I mean, remember, even as we speak, now let me speak for myself, not these two individuals you see me here with. Anything that has to do with ICT is not like a foreign country. It's an intergalactic journey. Something very strange and something that has to be explained to me slowly for me to understand. Okay, now let's go back to this mentioned supposed attack. What would bring about a situation like that?
First, of course, political. Second, interest. So you may have interest from other companies who want to make you look bad. and they'll sponsor this kind of things. But for the specific one, it was really identified. The sponsors were identified, and it was well funded. So this is actually the future of war. Cyber attacks is the actual real attacks that will happen in the future. So what happened is these guys paid guys from Indonesia and other countries who could be able to, there are guys on hire just to do this kind of artificial attacks. So they'll hire servers and send unlimited traffic to a site. So it's like when you receive your phone, you can only receive one call at a time.
Yeah.
Because that pipe is only designed for that. When someone else calls you, to tell them be busy until it's open again. When you have a call center, they have probably 100 concurrent users.
Yeah.
So it will take you to the next one until that part is full. Now, when it comes to systems online, it's equally the same. You have a server and you've maxed it to the number of Kenyans. So let's say, example, you have 50 million Kenyans. So that's the traffic that you, at the worst case, you believe all Kenyans are coming in at the same time, it will be able to handle that. You never anticipated that all 50 million Kenyans will come in at the same time.
The same second.
It is highly unlikely.
Yeah.
It's improbable.
Yes, that all of us will go in at the same time. So these guys were pushing more than 80 million requests per second. So when legitimate traffic will try to access the system, it's just hanging. So it will be like user busy. So that's pretty much what happened. During that time, this is someone who's just jamming your platform. They don't have access to anything.
Okay.
They don't have access to data. They're just
They're
jamming
not
it.
in the system.
They are not in the system.
They're just knocking at the door.
They're just
80 million of them at the same time.
they're just creating a stampede so that no one gets in. So that's pretty much what happened. And the security agencies, being a government infrastructure, the security agencies, both at Interior, Communication Authority, ICT Authority, were all in the loop of what's happening. And of course, additional security firewalls was added just to make sure that this kind of traffic is identified on time and then it's blocked before it gets into the system. So there is additional security that was added to the e-citizen after that incident, and now the system is even more safer than before.
James, for purposes of clarity here,
Yes.
essentially what we are saying is that the services being offered, that what e-citizen does is that it holds them all. You can transact, put in your applications, you can get this done, then you get feedback. So that's the chain. You put it in, something comes out, you're told it's ready, you either go pick it up or it comes to you virtually. So e-citizen is holding that. E-citizen is not making the decisions as per to tell you this thing now is ready. Yes? Then you're not the authorization channel, you are the operationalization channel, essentially, right? So if I put in a passport application, for example, it is not e-citizen that says it will be ready on the 24th of June, but we are holding your application, or is it? Just for purposes of clarity, because we are about to blast you for the reasons why 1,000+ passports that were applied for last year, we have no word. So that's why I want to clarify, is it you or not?
So e-citizen is a marketing name. It's a gateway to government services. On e-citizen, there are shared services. One, the single sign-on, and second, payment. Now, there are several departments of government offering their own services,
Right.
and they're connected to e-citizen via API. So once you log into e-citizen and you go to company's registry,
Yes.
you are submitting this application to the business registration services.
Right.
Their
Directly.
officers are the ones who own and manage the data. Their officers are the ones who make the approvals, and their officers are the ones who support in the event you have issues related to that application.
But they are on this platform.
So,
Yeah, okay.
so it is a distributed system.
Okay.
eCitizen does not sit in one server. It sits in hundreds of different servers in the different government departments. But the only shared service is the single sign-on. When you can't log in, that's a shared service. When you can't make a payment, that's a shared service, and that is now managed by the National Treasury.
Okay.
Now, immigration
Yes.
are responsible for their service delivery.
Okay.
In the event you make an application and there are delays, in most cases, it is associated with the printing either printing machine or the card.
Yes.
But the system is always available.
Okay.
Because most customers say, I submitted application, I paid for it,
Yeah.
but
I'm waiting.
I'm waiting for the service.
So when we say eCitizen is useless because I've not gotten my passport, that is not true.
That is not correct.
Okay, that is not correct.
Yes.
All right. So the system, which I think is easiest to use at this point, it works. The system works, and we've been able to, again, bring in thousands of operations onto the system. And if we want to be honest, I think it is phenomenal that can be done, whereby so many operations then are available on one system. I think Kenya is one of the few African countries right now that's able to do this. When we do see, and I think also for purposes of clarity, that when we do see a delay, because we have hundreds of servers, and I'm just going to repeat what you said for purposes of understanding, that when we do have hundreds of servers perched on this system, everybody is responsible for what it is that you're seeking for at that point. So a delay is not the system delay, right? Now, when it comes to payments, whereby we are paying this money and we're sitting in hospital, now because everything's coming here, it's not still eCitizen when we're in hospital and we've made a payment and we're sitting in the thing, waiting. And I cannot go see the doctor because they've not sent back the confirmation of payment. Who's that?
That is now eCitizen.
Okay, what's wrong?
Now, what we've learned over the years, there's something called sensitization. Sometimes we are dealing with people who don't understand anything technology. And some people don't even know how to use... Yes, some people don't even know how to use a phone. So, so we've had instances where someone has keyed in a wrong account number or a wrong reference number.
Okay.
You understand? eCitizen does real-time reconciliation. Now, for the first time in the history of this country, the National Treasury has visibility of all incoming revenue in real time. Now, for that to happen, each and every transaction needs to be accounted for and mapped to the responsible organization. So when a customer comes in and they miss a digit or the wrong account number, that money is received but is not allocated. Now you go through a process, either for it to be reversed back so that you make payment, or for it to be assigned to the correct account. Now, at the hospital, we've been there, and I can confirm that the service is working efficiently. There are isolated cases, less than 0.1% of these instances where someone has made an error. But the payment service, not just at the hospital, but also in other services like ferry. In the ferry, you're just paying to a till number. And these are thousands of people paying every single time. Now they are going in and the government is able to see and confirm all these payments. It is working perfectly. So there might be few individuals who went through the unhappy route where they missed a digit and now they have to go through the frustrations of now having their records mapped. And this is equally similar to even when you're sending money via M-Pesa, they tell you to confirm, but still we end up sending money to the wrong people.
Right.
It has happened to me. I don't know what goes to my mind during that time, but I realize I've already sent. So now Safaricom will frustrate me. They'll tell you have to wait for us to go through a process.
We have to call that person, tell them that you want to reverse.
Yes. So there is there is a committee that is in charge of looking at these frustrations and developing policies that will be very clear to help you to communicate to you in the event you've made that kind of mistake. So they'll say, okay, when you call, it will take you 12 hours or 10 hours or 3 hours for it to be resolved.
So when there is that hiccup, so there's two things that could have happened. The system had a fault or somebody made a mistake.
That's correct.
What's in the majority?
Mistakes.
Okay.
Mistakes.
All right.
But also, there's something to note. eCitizen is not a payment channel. The normal payment channels still exist. So you can pay via card, Visa, MasterCard, you can pay via M-Pesa, you can pay via Airtel Money, and other channels. When there are issues getting confirmation from these channels, your application will also not go through.
Voilà.
So sometimes, let's say you've paid via M-Pesa, and Safaricom have not sent notification to Sinta that we've received this payment. And this might be due to even delays in their own system.
Right.
That will also affect the customer. And these are some of the issues when the third-party systems are down. Customers also get frustrated being able to access services. So that one has also access.
Even if we don't impute nefarious intent, is it possible for a system to simply break down? Bicycles break down, cars break down.
Humans break down.
Human beings break down. That's why they take into the garage, referred to as a hospital all the time. How does one foresee, plan, forestall, and then sort out such issues when they do come up?
This is now risk management. When you talk about risk management, you're looking at all the different scenarios, worst case scenarios, and plan for those eventualities. And within the eCitizen ecosystem, there is all these scenarios, and there are backups. So we foresee, of course, there'll be change of technology. Of course, there'll be different use cases. And we're also riding on other applications. Example, you're accessing the system via a browser that keeps on updating. Some of these browser updates have effect on the system. So we have a team dedicated just to look at high availability, just to make sure that the system works and the citizen is able to get services. By the citizen, I mean myself and you.
Are there times when, for instance, you have what you call routine maintenance, and are people informed adequately that
It will be down between the hours of 3 a.m. and 5 a.m.
Yes, there are those kind of notifications, and these are usually communicated by the different organizations. Example, when you go to register a company now, they'll tell you we are migrating to a new system, and this is the roadmap. So you can access both systems at the same time, but at a certain point, they will close the old system, and then there will be migration to the new system.
James, as you understand, as you are moving into this new thing, very many questions will emerge. People are saying, all right, I'm trying to access the service. The police clearance process is too slow. eCitizen itself is too slow. There are very many concerns, and you're addressing them and saying the system is robust. There could be hitches here and there, which you need to raise. We'll invite you again so that you come now and it'll be question time.
Okay.
Let people raise their questions and concerns and, express their fears so that you can tell them, okay, we are Kenyan engineers and we have solved this thing or not.
and we live here.
Yeah. Asante sana, James Ayugi, for joining us.
Thank you.
James is a founder and developer of the eCitizen platform. Currently, his company, Webmasters, are offering the service of supporting this system. Asante sana. Keep it here for more conversations, 9 a.m.